Yo, what's going on, guys? It is time for another reaction video, and today I'll be reacting to 15 biggest mistakes London tourists always make. Let's check this out.
Welcome to London. I'm going to tell you about the biggest mistakes I always see tourists make when they come to the city so that you know about them and you don't make them yourself. By the way, I'm Jess. I run Love in London, and we help tourists who visit London like they live here. And if it's your first time coming to the city, I have a special freebie for you, so make sure you watch to the end of the video to get it. Ooh. By far the biggest mistake I hear from London tourists is that they didn't realize how big that London is. London is actually the biggest city in Western Europe, and for comparison, we have 9 million people here, and the second biggest city is Berlin with just 3.4 million. And even Paris only has 2, so you can fit a bunch of Parises into London. That just goes to show how massive that this city is. So when you're here, be prepared to hop on public transport, whether it's the riverboat, the tube, the bus, anything, so you can make sure you're exploring as much of London as possible. Which leads us to the next mistake, not going beyond the very touristy areas. I see a lot of tourists coming for a few days and not going beyond a few walks where the major tourist attractions are. And listen, do the tourist attractions, that's fine. But if you only do that, you are missing out on a whole entire London that us Londoners love and that I definitely think you should experience. So if you want to get out of central London, I've got a bunch of amazing video guides that will tell you some great things to do, a little bit more on the outskirts.
I have a feeling I'm going to be checking out a lot of these videos because I want to learn more about what areas to explore, because it is on my travel list, my bucket list, to go and visit London.
Of the city, and I will link those videos in the description box of this video. Not grouping your activities together by area. I see a lot of tourists that don't realize, as mentioned before, how big London is. So they don't plan in advance to do the same things in the same area in one day, which means you could spend tons of time traipsing around the city on public transport.
I'm pretty good at when it comes to traveling, and that's something I've learned over the years, is to try to, exactly like what she's saying, you know, group regions and try to do as many things within a specific area as you can in the same day, and then maybe the next day or whenever you do your next set of activities, try to plan things all relatively in the same area. Otherwise, you waste a lot of your time just in transit
and getting taxis. For example, you don't want to do Notting Hill in West London on the same day that you're going to do Shoreditch, which is over here in East London. This is going to take a ton of time to get there on the tube. So instead, if you do Notting Hill, also pair that with a visit around Kensington. And when you go to Shoreditch, pair that with a visit to the Barbican. If you're struggling with figuring out what things to do in each area of London, I have travel guides that do exactly that for you. It's called the Casual Tourist Guides. I'll leave a link to them in the description box. Thinking you can only go and party on the weekends. There is something going on at night every single day of the week here in London, especially when you're in bustling areas like Shoreditch or Soho, where we are now. So don't think you can't go out if it's a weekday. In fact, the weekdays are super fun to go out because it's a little less crowded. It tends to be more people that actually live in London versus people who come from the outskirts in. Get me out of here. This is my worst nightmare. Not
I like that she adds her outtakes into the videos. That's kind of fun.
Booking your activities and your restaurants ahead of time, especially if you're coming to London in peak times like the summer, like it is right now, or around Christmas time. You for sure need to pre-book your activities and your restaurant reservations in advance.
I've done a road trip to and from, I'm in Houston, Texas, from here all the way to San Francisco and back. I've done that twice, and we pre-booked the majority, almost every single one of the hotels the first time I went, but there were a couple of them we just kind of moteled it. My second time, I planned every single hotel in advance, and then the activities is definitely you have to do in advance. Or you might refer to them as excursions. I've gotten used to using that term from doing cruises, because a lot of stuff's going to be sold out in advance, so if you think you can just walk up and get a ticket to some sort of an event, chances are it's probably already sold out. So definitely book in advance. Food though, that one I'm kind of surprised to see. I'm wondering how far in advance you need to book a table somewhere. Is it like same day or a few days ahead? Um, and if that's the case, are there enough backup options of places you could walk into and eat without it having to be a fancy schmancy place that requires a reservation?
You don't want to be wasting precious time waiting in lines for places that you could have actually booked a time slot ahead of time, and then you wouldn't have to do all this waiting. For example, the London Eye, you can do that.
Nice. Good to
Same
know.
goes for restaurant reservations. If it's important for you to eat well, which it should be, then you want to make sure you get your reservations in early so you don't miss out on the best dining experiences, especially around central London and on the weekends. Only trying British food when you come to London. Listen, try the full English breakfast, have some fish and chips, get a pie and mash, but you are truly missing out if you stick to only British food. That's because London is one of the best cities in the world for international cuisines, and we have amazing restaurants that serve dishes from Italy, Japan, Sri Lanka, the Caribbean, and loads of other places that are all worth trying. So don't stick to only British food. You will definitely be missing out, and I think there are a lot of other cuisines that are actually much better than British food anyway. If you need lots of good local food recommendations, make sure you go to the Love in London shop. I have so many amazing places to eat in my London guides.
I am so sorry.
Hi, that's okay. Oh, amazing.
Your
Yeah, of
channel
course.
definitely,
Yeah.
like, inspired our whole vacation.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
That's cool.
One of the biggest safety mistakes tourists make here in London is not looking both ways when you cross the road. They drive on the left side of the road here, so if you're not used to that, you want to make
It's funny watching the people around her. They're like, who is she talking to? What's going on? They don't realize there's a cameraman across the street and she's mic'd up.
Make sure you look both ways before you cross, or look down at the pavement because it might be telling you which way you should look before you cross. But just to be safe, look both ways, and then you won't have to get run over. Buying a paper ticket for traveling on the tube. The daily travel card is such a ripoff. Do not buy it. Instead, use a contactless payment method like Google Pay, Apple Pay, or just a contactless debit or credit card to pay. Or if you've got an Oyster already, an Oyster card works too. Those methods of payment have a daily cap, which is automatically applied, which is a lot cheaper than if you were to buy a paper daily travel card. So there's really no reason to buy it.
Good to know.
Not observing tube etiquette. If you want to see a Londoner get very frustrated, but also try to have patience at the same time, stand on the left side of the escalator in a tube station and you'll very quickly hear a, "Excuse me," from behind. That's because the left lane is the express lane. You keep moving, and if you want to stand on the escalator, make sure you're standing on the right side. And when you're waiting for a tube, when one arrives, make sure you're not stood in front of the doors. Step to the side, let everybody.
I've picked up through the video what she's referring to as tube a little bit ago, but initially I didn't know what the heck she was referring to. Subway. Tube is subway. Interesting term, I guess, because it's like a tube and it travels through a tube. Makes sense. But yeah, I didn't really know what she was talking about at the beginning.
Step off the train first, and then you can get on. Thinking all of London is going to be quintessentially English. A lot of tourists come here and think they're gonna see Londoners running around with top hats on, saying cheerio to everyone, and sweeping chimneys like Bert from Mary Poppins. But actually, London is a lot different from the rest of the UK. It's an incredibly multicultural city with people from all over the world, and we have global influences on the food, the architecture, the people, everything. It's one of the best parts of the city, so make sure you embrace it and enjoy it. Thinking you can predict the London weather. Now, listen, here in England, we have all 4 seasons, but it can vary significantly from day to day. For example, you might have a day like today where it's hot and sunny and you don't need a jacket, and then literally tomorrow, it could be so cold that you feel like you need a proper winter jacket on. It does vary that much. So check the forecast a couple of days before you come to London, pack according to that, but also pack in case there are any major changes. And if you need any help with your packing and planning what to wear, I have that all in the London packing guide, which I will link in the description box.
I love that she has all these guides. This is super cool. So if you guys are watching this, I will link her video below in the description so that y'all can go take advantage of all these guides and things that she's got available as well.
Leaving the city for a day trip too early in your trip. There is so much to do and see in London that you could be here for weeks exploring and still have not even scratched the surface. So I see a lot of tourists leaving to go on a day trip outside of the city like 2 days into their trip before they've even really properly seen anything. My rule of thumb is to not do any day trips unless you're in London for at least 7 days. And if you find yourself getting bored of London after a couple of days, you're just not doing it right. Sorry.
For some of us, we might not be able to go for more than 7 days at a time. So maybe that's those day 2 people that are going to other places, is because maybe they're only there for a total of 7 days. And so they want to try to get at least one out of city thing. That would probably be what I fall into anyways. My category is I would probably be able to take off of a week of work, and then you throw in the Saturday and Sunday before and after. So that gives you 9 days total, but easily 2 of those days are going to be spent in travel, maybe 3. So yeah, got to fit in as much as you can.
Thinking there is a best time to visit London. You might have a favorite season to come to London. Mine is summer, but every time of the year has its pros and cons. For example, summer is going to be the best chance for getting good weather, but it also means there's going to be the most crowds and the highest prices. But you can come in January, where it'll be the lowest prices and the least crowds, but you're also going to be dealing with dark and cold weather. So it completely depends. In this video, I talk about the pros and cons of coming each month of the year. So have a watch of that after this video to figure out what's going to be the best time of year for you.
Definitely need to figure that out, because I am not a cold weather, winter weather kind of person. Unless I was specifically going somewhere to see snow. I've actually never seen real traditional snow. Like here in Houston, it's too humid, so even when it does snow here, it's more like ice than snow. So yeah, if I was going to a place like, for instance, Colorado or something, I would want to go in the colder months so that I could experience real snow. But if I'm going to London, me personally would probably prefer to go in the warmer months versus being cold and dark and dreary. It's not my favorite time of year.
Another big mistake London tourists make when they come to the city is to spend any time in Leicester Square. Literally, don't spend any time here. London tourists apparently think that this is a great place to come, and they're wrong. Unless you want to experience international cuisine at Pizza Hut, or experience world-class arts and culture, or to get overpriced American candy at a candy shop that's currently being investigated for money laundering, or go to one of the 3 movie theaters/casinos in this immediate area. If you want to do those things, you can come to Leicester Square, but otherwise, completely avoid it.
Seems like just going to something here in the US, so I get what she's saying. It would be kind of a wasted effort if you're trying to experience London, then you're really just experiencing what you can experience at home by going there.
M&Ms! What is the point? Thinking you can pay in any currency besides British pounds. It's a little bit of a weird one. I don't know why you'd go to a foreign country and try to pay in your own currency, but I've heard it be done. We use Great British Pounds here, and even though we are in Europe, we are not on the euro. So you can't use euros here, you can't use American dollars, only use British pounds. If you find some place that says they will take your home currency, run. It is going to be a huge ripoff. Something is going on there that is really weird. And sometimes if you're paying by card, the machine will ask you if you want to pay in your home currency or Great British Pounds. Always pick pounds, because when it converts to your home currency, it's actually going to severely rip you off. Now, if you want to avoid even more mistakes when you come to London, make sure you grab my free London 101 guide. It has everything you need to know before you get here. You can get that by clicking the link in the description box of the video. And also make sure you watch one of my many other videos about London before you come, which you can do by clicking one of the boxes around me.
I'll probably be watching more from her, and I'll probably be downloading some of these guides that she has. That was a great video. Really enjoyed it. If you are watching this and you're in London, you're in England, and you have some tips or tricks or some things I should know, please tell me in the comments. And I've had a few people ask recently about sending me snacks, treats, drinks, and things like that for me to try on video. So if I can get enough people to send me stuff, then yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to make a video of me tasting some things from England for the first time. So my mailing address is in the description below as well. If you like this content and you want to see more of it, make sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.